Breaking news now. The United States has gotten involved in the conflict between Israel and Iran.
What options does Iran have to retaliate? What could it potentially do?
Statement from the Atomic Energy Organization. Following the brutal attacks of the Zionist enemy over the past few days, at dawn today, the country's nuclear sites in Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan were attacked by the enemies of Islamic Iran in a barbaric act that contradicts international law, especially the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. This is true. This action, contrary to international law, was unfortunately carried out in the shadow of indifference and even cooperation of the International Atomic Energy Agency. The American enemy, through cyberspace, has claimed responsibility for the attack on the aforementioned sites, which are under the continuous supervision of the International Atomic Energy Agency, based on the Safeguards Agreement and the NPT Treaty. The international community is expected to condemn the lawlessness based on the rules of the jungle and support Iran in achieving its legitimate rights. The Atomic Energy Organization of Iran assures the great Iranian nation that despite the evil conspiracies of its enemies, with the efforts of thousands of its revolutionary motivated scientists and specialists, it will not allow the development of this national industry, which is the result of the blood of nuclear martyrs, to be stopped. This organization has put the necessary measures, including legal action, on its agenda to defend the rights of the noble Iranian nation. I thought they were going to pull out. This is also a very limited, restrained, legal response that is within the legal confines. So they're not even saying they're not. I don't think Iran's retaliation. Maybe I'm wrong, and I hope I'm not wrong on this. But I don't think Iran's retaliation is going to be that crazy. I think it. I mean, unless this is a mistranslation because it's from Persian. Farsi to English. I don't know. I think like basically Iran is going to continue being restrained and diplomatic against an increasingly belligerent enemy, as this increasingly belligerent enemy completely destroys all of its resources, exhausts its resources. They're downplaying the impact of the strikes, which there's truth to, right? This is a violation of their sovereignty in spectacular fashion. Having said that, I believe that they reported days ago, almost a week ago, that they had moved the enriched uranium away from the Fordow facility. So I think they're going to be like, oh, this wasn't even that big of a hit. We only got a little boo-boo, and who knows what happens after that. According to the stock guy, Iran is isolated and has no support from others unless Trump attacks Islam religion. Nothing is really significant per his Friday stream. I mean, that's a funny take, but it's not wrong. Iran is a very isolated. It's isolated regionally. It's also clearly not being adequately defended by the larger powers that would normally rush to defend it. I don't think China is going to do anything. Iran is pursuing legal action. That's so funny. We're living in ridiculous times. Like what process? What legal process? First of all, the entire sham of international human rights was directly concocted by a group of vassal states that are utterly servile to American interests. Every European country is sitting around on their hands and knees waiting for Trump's orders. Trump says jump, they say how high. America says do this, they go, oh please, I would love to do this. Every single thing that you hear from European leadership about how angry they are at America's reasoning, America's actions against them, is all bullshit. It's all bullshit. So the entire international rule-based order that is designed and is supposed to be upheld by these European defenders of liberal democracy is not being upheld. Benjamin Netanyahu flew over French airspace. France is supposed to be one of the only countries in Europe that at least has some aesthetic interest in sovereignty. They got nukes. They don't give a What do you expect Iran to do? I mean, listen, I don't know. But if I was in this situation, if I was the head of state of a country that is being bruised and battered by a belligerent attack dog for the largest superpower on the planet, I would very quickly cut as many deals as possible with the other big dog. I'd be like, please give me the Dongfeng missiles. I will do anything for you. I have a 25-year energy contract with you. Give me some Dongfeng missiles. I would like to launch some Dongfeng missiles instantly. I would like to launch maximum amounts of Dongfeng missiles is what I would probably do in that situation. International law collapsed in 2003 with the invasion of Iraq. Biden made a mockery of it from 2023 to 2025, and Trump has torn the mask off in 2025. Exactly. Dongfeng missiles in the direction of commercial vessels potentially flying above them, mining the Strait of Hormuz, closing it down. Dongfeng missiles in the direction of oil refineries, but that wouldn't happen because that would also hurt China's interest. Also, there's the other side of this as well. China loves trade maxing, as I've said before, and they would hate for a global disruption of any sort against shipping or, God forbid, energy. That means less trade. That means economic collapse, and that means no trade. And they love trading. If they don't trade, they explode. So obviously, they probably would not be on board with that. But it doesn't even need to get to that point. If you don't want America to blow up your nuclear facilities, put some Chinese military in your country. If you don't want America to blow up your nuclear facilities, put some Russian military in your country. It's kind of that simple. There are Russian civilian nuclear sites in Iran. They were not attacked. It would also be weird, of course, for relatives to kill one another when you got Israeli Russian Air Force pilots throwing missiles in the direction of Russian nuclear scientists down on Iranian soil. That would be really fucked up, but they didn't do that. I talked with President Trump tonight on the phone, and he touted the tremendous success of the military operation. No other military could have done that, he added. 2 days was within 2 weeks, pointing to his comments on making a decision within 2 weeks for operational security. So he just lied. He just talked about diplomacy, got the European dickheads to talk to Iranian envoys specifically so they could feel like, maybe in 2 weeks we'll do something. Which, by the way, as I've said before, if a dumb Twitch streamer like myself could figure out that this was happening this weekend, I'm pretty sure the Iranian state is not oblivious. Just so you know, all this does is show the rest of the world and maybe the Iranian leadership that American talks, an American ceasefire, and American negotiations are meaningless. They just want complete domination. They want death and they want destruction. Yeah, I already read it. Like I said, the fact that the Iran Atomic Energy Agency is saying that they're going to pursue legal avenues. The Ayatollah is basically the Democratic Party. They're feckless institutionalists holding on to a fantasy that does not exist within the confines of international laws and the international rule-based order. It is not real. It is not real at all. And these guys think it's real for some reason, and it's a mechanism of survival for them. But what they don't realize is it's either today or it's, maybe a couple months from now or maybe next week. Who knows? But it's coming. They are literally the Ayatollah is basically the way that the Democrats operate in this country, where they're fantasizing about a diplomatic outcome that does not exist. It's clear to me that their initial response to this severe violation of their sovereignty, just like their initial tit-for-tat campaign between them and Israel in the process of a nuclear denuclearization agreement that they were having with the United States of America, has been so limited and so restrained and so focused on maintaining some sort of peaceful solution that even when they are bruising the Iranian public bloody, even when they are destroying Iran, wiping out Iranian sovereignty, his response is, oh, it didn't hurt that bad. That's what they said tonight. They said, oh, we hit our enriched uranium, which is true. They did do that ahead of time. Oh, we moved all of our stockpiles elsewhere. We moved all of our civilian nuclear scientists elsewhere. They're hidden. You just gave us a little boo-boo. Who cares? Wait, I want to learn something. Is Iran actually democratic? No. Doing diplomacy as a state actor and being an actual, democratic republic is very different. My very apolitical friend just said to me, no one f***s with North Korea. Why do you think that is? Yep, there's a clear message for a lot of global South and Middle Eastern countries tonight, sadly, and it isn't a non-proliferation message. HasanAbi nuclear doctrine. HasanAbi doctrine for nation building. Number 1, develop nukes. Number 2, don't give up the nukes. This is for Ukraine. Number 3, if a Western superpower claims you have nukes or a WMD, drop everything and immediately obtain nukes. Because if you don't do that, they're going to fuck you. They are going to you with a bayonet like they did in Libya to Gaddafi, who did not have nukes, but they said he did. They're going to assassinate you without any sort of trial whatsoever, like Saddam Hussein. Okay? It doesn't matter if you're a good guy or a bad guy. It doesn't matter. If you're a head of state and America says you have nukes, they're coming for you. You have to get nukes immediately. If you don't get nukes, you're... Listen, guys, I'm telling you right now, judging by what Iran has said so far, it feels like they're just going to say, oops, you hit us, but it didn't hurt us that bad. And their retaliation will be fairly limited. This doesn't mean that further war is avoided here, because the appetite for further death and destruction and regime change is coming from our side. They want stability. We want death and destruction and instability. Make no mistake. I hope I'm right. Best case, they just say, oh, we ate it. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. And then they launch a couple missiles at like empty barracks. But then again, this is a severe violation that could be a wake-up call for the Iranian leadership to say, okay, maybe they just don't have any interest in negotiations. Like, maybe they'll fucking understand it. Who knows? And therefore, we'll actually respond with the most severe response that they could possibly do. And I've already detailed what that would look like: mining the Strait of Hormuz, lobbing ballistic missiles in the direction of every American asset in the region, trying to pull other allies into the conflict to defend Iran. But that is less likely, I think. They have to do this to establish deterrence. If they don't do this, then America is going to do the bombing campaigns again and again and again. And slowly but surely, they're just going to erode the entire leadership structure of Iran. They're going to kill a ton of civilians in the process and ultimately turn Iran into a failed state. What is this? Mannan Raisi, the Qom city member of the Iranian parliament. Contrary to the statements of the lying U.S. president, the nuclear facilities for Fordow were not seriously damaged. Only the above-ground structures, which can be restored, were destroyed. In addition, everything that could pose a danger to the population was evacuated in advance. Bye-bye. There are no reports of any nuclear emissions. Trump's false claims about the destruction of Fordow are refuted by the fact that the attacks were so superficial that there's not even any fatalities at the facility. But we regard even this U.S. aggression as America's direct entry into the war. Now, Iran will decide how and in what way to respond to the U.S.'s blatant stupidity. Okay, this is exactly what fucking Hakeem Jeffries said about Donald Trump when Donald Trump's administration arrested the staffer of a Democratic representative. Hakeem Jeffries was like, oh, we're going to figure out a way to respond, and it's going to be swift. I'm telling you, Iran, get in on this meme early on, okay? Iran is behaving like the Democrats. Like, this basically corresponds to what I was saying. Trump turns around and says, look, my aggressive military action looked awesome. It is going to make Iran back down, because his generals got in his ear and said, this will be just like Qasem Soleimani. They won't do shit. They can't do shit. Now, of course, this still doesn't mean that the goal is accomplished, because the nuke stuff is bullshit. It's not significant. What's actually significant is destabilizing Iran, turning it into a failed state, and then the violence will unfold in spectacular fashion if that were to happen. But I don't know if this will be as severe a response. And the Fox general told them to tell the Iranians don't respond, and they will listen because they don't want the smoke. Yeah. Any retaliation by Iran against the United States of America will be met with force far greater than what was witnessed tonight. Thank you, Donald J. Trump, President of the United States. That's what he tweeted out. Anti-war, by the way. You say Iran only wants peace and stability. You clearly have no understanding of Iran's goals. Iran wants to close the Strait of Hormuz, remove the Gulf states, and implement control of the Persian Gulf and all the oil. They have said this repeatedly. Okay, dude. Well, I want Chinese-style democratic centralization. That's what I want. I want high-speed rail. Am I getting it? No. So shut the fuck up. What Iran wants and what Iran is capable of doing are entirely different things. Also, you just made that shit up anyway. The fuck do you mean? Oh, Iran wants to actually nuke Washington, D.C. Okay, cool. I guess we should listen to that guy. What is this? I've said this before. It's easier to topple the regime than to fully dismantle the nuclear program. The reason, much of it is mental capital, knowledge dispersed across thousands of scientists. War can't erase this. Even physically, dismantling Iran's program requires U.S. engagement with certainty of outcome. Without it, America won't risk intervention. Striking Fordow may be symbolic, but it won't ensure finality. Yeah, of course it won't. Like the nuke nuclear is also built on scientific knowledge, and Iran has exported this expertise to allies across the region. The same applies to his drone program. Hi, I'm waiting for another condemn from our Chinese government. Oh my God. Oh my God. Victor Gao about to go on Sky News and hit the condemn so hard. Dude, I'm telling you, just wait. China's going to write another stern letter talking about the importance of international trade, and everyone is going to be like, look out. These guys are the global hegemon of tomorrow. Look out. China's coming in. They're going to condemn so hard. Just you wait, baby. You won't be expecting this condemnation. This will be so stern. China literally, I'm telling you, I talked about this yesterday. China hit the nuclear option on trade one time in this process where they just said, okay, you want to do tariffs? We won't sell you the materials that you need for your defense. We own all of them. We have a monopoly on the refinement process. We basically have a monopoly on the procurement process. We won't give them to you. That was the nuclear option for trade. That's the only time that they ever implemented it, because Donald Trump was like, we're not going to do trade with China. That's it. They will never do it for anything else. God forbid the American suburbs are not awash with labubus. God forbid China ever take the stage as a global hegemon in the direction of peace and prosperity. Oh my God. No, the only time they would they would hit the nuclear option as long as America says no more labubus, no more shine. You say no more shine or Shein, however you say it, China will come out and be like, this is unacceptable. Nukes are about to fly. Nukes are about to fly unless you fucking restore global trade right now. We have to trade max.